Ladies and gentlemen, if you truly want to change your life, you don't need to be seen more. You need to disappear. Because the most powerful transformations don't happen under the spotlight. They happen in silence when no one is watching. The world tells you to post, to prove, to perform. But let me tell you this, the strongest version of you is not created by noise. It is forged in the quiet. When you step back, cut off the distractions and rebuild yourself from the inside out. This isn't about running away from life. It's about creating the space to meet the person you were always meant to become. And when you reappear, the world won't even recognize you. Most people are terrified of disappearing. They believe if they step back, they'll fall behind. If they stop posting, stop proving, stop showing up in the endless noise of the world, they'll be forgotten. But here's the truth. Sometimes the most courageous decision you can make is to vanish from the crowd so you can finally hear your own voice again. Think about it. Everywhere you look, people are performing. Social media has turned life into a stage where everyone is auditioning for approval. They post their highlight reels, their filtered achievements, their polished smiles, and what happens? You start comparing your behind the scenes to their show. You begin chasing their applause instead of your purpose. The more you try to keep up with the noise, the further you drift from who you really are. Disappearing is not about running away. It's about reclaiming your focus. It's about cutting off the endless chatter long enough to ask yourself, who am I becoming? What am I really building? Am I living for their approval or my own destiny? When you choose to step back, even for a short season, you are making a bold statement. I will no longer be defined by outside voices. I will find myself in silence. Look at history. Great transformations rarely happened in front of an audience. Think about Steve Jobs. After being fired from Apple, he disappeared from the spotlight, built Next and Pixar, and returned stronger than ever to create the world's most valuable company. Think about Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in silence behind prison walls, and when he reappeared, he transformed not only himself but an entire nation. The world saw the results, but the real work happened while no one was watching. That's the paradox of disappearing. The world may think you've gone quiet, but in reality, you're doing the loudest work of your life. The kind of work that builds strength and clarity. The kind of work that prepares you for the next version of yourself. But make no mistake, disappearing takes courage. Because it means saying no when everyone else is saying yes. It means stepping into solitude when the crowd is screaming for attention. It means letting go of the fear of missing out and embracing the deeper fear, the fear of wasting your life by never discovering who you truly are. When you disappear, you strip away the distractions. You discover which friendships are genuine and which ones only existed when you were convenient. You learn how much energy you used to waste trying to explain yourself to people who never really understood you. And slowly in the silence you begin to see yourself more clearly. You realize you don't need to prove anything. You need to become something. Think of it like a seed planted deep in the soil. From the outside it looks like nothing is happening. But under the surface transformation is taking place. Roots are forming. Strength is being built. Life is preparing to burst through. That's what disappearing does for your soul. It gives you time, underground time to root yourself so that when you reemerge, you are unshakable. The courage to disappear is not about giving up. It's about preparing for the breakthrough. It's about removing yourself from the noise long enough to hear your inner compass. And here's the part most people don't understand. You don't owe the world constant updates. You don't have to announce every move you're making. Silence is not weakness, it's strategy. So, let me ask you this. What would happen if for the next 90 days you stopped explaining and started building? What would happen if you disappeared from the opinions, the gossip, the endless scrolling, and instead poured all of that energy into your craft, your health, your mind, your vision? I'll tell you what would happen when you reappear. You won't just come back. you'll come back unrecognizable. That is the courage to disappear, to walk away from the stage, step into the shadows, and build in silence until your results speak louder than your words ever could. Silence is not emptiness, it is power. And one of the first disciplines you must master when you choose to disappear is the discipline of your words. Because words are not just sounds, they are energy. Every time you speak about your dreams, your energy either builds momentum or it leaks away. Think about how many times you've told someone, "I'm going to start this business. I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to write the book for a moment. It feels good." You get a quick rush of validation. Someone nods. Someone claps. Someone says, "That's amazing." But here's the hidden danger. Your brain interprets that praise as if you've already achieved something. You feel accomplished without ever doing the work, and slowly, without realizing it, you trade real progress for the illusion of progress. That's why successful people are often so quiet. They aren't mysterious for no reason. They understand a simple truth. The more you talk, the less you do. The more you broadcast your plans, the more you drain the focus that should be going into execution. Imagine you're carrying a torch every time you share your vision prematurely. It's like poking holes in the flame's container. The fire doesn't vanish immediately, but it weakens, it flickers, it becomes vulnerable to the wind. Your words can either protect the flame or expose it. Silence then becomes your shield. Look at entrepreneurs, athletes, and leaders who change the world. Rarely will you find them broadcasting their next move on social media before it's real. When Michael Jordan trained relentlessly to return after his first retirement, he didn't post about it, didn't brag, didn't promise. He worked in silence until his performance spoke so loudly that the world couldn't ignore it. Silence was his strategy. And it's not just about protecting your plans from others. It's about protecting them from yourself. Because every time you talk too much about what you will do, you create an expectation that becomes heavier than the work itself. You start feeling pressure to perform for your words instead of focusing on the real mission. That pressure can paralyze you. Silence liberates you. Here's the truth. Not everyone deserves access to your vision. Not everyone has earned the right to hear what you're building. Some will doubt you. Some will discourage you. Some will secretly hope you fail. Why give them ammunition? Why hand them your treasure before it's ready? Think of your goals as seeds. You wouldn't dig up a seed every day to show it to people, right? You'd plant it deep, water it, and let it grow in the unseen. Only when it becomes a tree does it reveal its strength. Your dreams deserve the same treatment, privacy, until they're unshakable. This doesn't mean you live in isolation. It means you become intentional. You choose carefully who you confide in and why. Maybe you have one or two people who you trust deeply, people who won't judge, won't distract, won't discourage, share enough to stay accountable, but keep the sacred details between you and your work. When you master silence, you begin to notice a shift. You stop wasting energy trying to convince others, and you redirect that energy into execution. You no longer crave validation because you realize validation is temporary, but results are permanent. Your mind becomes sharper, your focus stronger, your discipline deeper, and then something incredible happens when you finally produce results. People notice. You don't have to announce. You don't have to beg for recognition. The work speaks, and the recognition that comes from results is 10 times more powerful than the attention that comes from promises. So here's the challenge. The next time you feel the urge to talk about your plans, ask yourself, am I speaking to build or am I speaking to feel good? If it's the latter, stay silent. Channel that energy into action. Protect your focus like a treasure chest. Guard your words like currency, because every word you save becomes fuel for your transformation. Remember, this disappearing isn't just about stepping away from the crowd. It's about stepping away from the noise, even your own noise. The world doesn't need another promise. It needs proof. And proof is born in silence. One of the deepest prisons a person can live in is the prison of other people's approval. You may not realize it, but so much of your energy is spent wondering, what will they think? Will they like me? Will they support me? And without noticing, your life stops belonging to you. It belongs to everyone else's opinions. But here's a truth that will set you free. If you want to transform yourself, you must stop begging for approval. You must stop waiting for someone else to validate your existence, your dreams, your choices, because until you approve of yourself, nothing else will ever be enough. Look around. We live in a world addicted to validation. A single post online is often less about sharing and more about waiting. Waiting for likes, comments, praise. But what happens when those likes don't come? What happens when people don't clap? Suddenly your self-worth feels shaken. Suddenly you question if what you're doing even matters. This is why disappearing is so powerful. When you step away from the constant noise, you're forced to confront the only voice that really matters, your own. And here's the question you must ask yourself. Am I proud of me? Am I satisfied with the choices I'm making? If the answer is yes, that's all the approval you'll ever need. Think of the greatest leaders, innovators, and thinkers. Did they wait for permission to chase their vision? No. Henry Ford was mocked when he insisted that he could build a car affordable for every family. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times, laughed at by critics before lighting up the world. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. What would have happened if they had let those voices define them? The world would have been robbed of their brilliance. The turning point in every great story is when the individual stops chasing applause and starts chasing purpose. That's where real confidence is born, not from the hands clapping for you, but from the conviction burning within you. Self-approval doesn't mean arrogance. It doesn't mean pretending you have no flaws. It means looking at yourself honestly, strengths, weaknesses, scars, failures, and still deciding, I am worthy. I am capable. I am enough right here, right now. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop needing approval, that's when respect comes. People can sense authenticity. They can feel when you're moving from conviction instead of desperation. A man or woman who no longer begs for validation is magnetic because they radiate something rare, certainty. But how do you practice this? Start small. Celebrate your own wins, even if no one notices. Did you keep a promise to yourself today? Did you follow through on a small discipline? Don't wait for someone else to applaud you. Give yourself credit. Those small victories stack up into unstoppable confidence. Second, learn the power of no. When you crave approval, you say yes to things that don't serve you. Projects, relationships, commitments. But when you approve of yourself, you realize your time and energy are sacred. Saying no to what drains you is really saying yes to your transformation. Third, refrain criticism. People will always have opinions. Some will doubt you. Some will misunderstand you. Some will simply project their own fears onto your life. Instead of letting that break you, filter it. If there's truth, use it to improve. If it's just noise, release it. Don't let someone else's limitations become your limits. Here's something powerful. Once you stop seeking approval, you gain freedom. Freedom to take risks, freedom to fail, freedom to try again. Because you're no longer performing for an audience. You're living for your purpose. And when you live this way, even failure becomes fuel. Picture this. You're standing in front of a mirror. Behind you are 1,000 voices, shouting opinions, judgments, expectations. But at the end of the day, when all the noise fades, the only person left in that mirror is you. That's the person you must impress. That's the person whose approval must matter most. So, here's my challenge to you. The next time you feel yourself reaching for validation, whether it's refreshing a feed, waiting for a compliment, or needing someone else's permission, pause. Ask yourself, do I approve of me? If the answer is yes, that is enough. Because transformation is not about becoming who the world wants you to be. It's about becoming who you were meant to be. And that journey starts the moment you stop begging for approval and start giving it to yourself. Your vision is your greatest treasure. It's fragile in the beginning, just a spark, just a whisper of what could be. And like all treasures, it must be protected. Too many people lose their dreams not because they weren't capable, but because they exposed them too early. They let doubt, criticism, or even envy poison what could have grown into something extraordinary. Think of your vision as a seed. When you first plant it, it's invisible to the world. If you dig it up every day to show others, it will never take root. But if you protect it, water it, and give it time in the soil, it becomes something unshakable. The same goes for your goals. They need privacy before they can thrive. Here's the danger. When you share your plans too soon, you invite interference. Some people won't understand, others may laugh. Some may project their fears onto you. That's impossible. What if you fail? And even if you're confident, those seeds of doubt can creep in and slow you down. History shows us this pattern again and again. Walt Disney was laughed out of investor meetings. The Wright brothers were mocked for dreaming of flight. J.K. Rowling was rejected by publishers dozens of times before Harry Potter became a phenomenon. What if they had given up because other people didn't see the treasure? What if they had believed the voices of doubt? The truth is, not everyone deserves access to your vision. Your goals are not public property. They're sacred. And if you treat them as ordinary, you weaken them before they've even had the chance to grow strong. That's why disappearing matters. When you disappear, you're not hiding. You're safeguarding. You're building a vault around your dreams, protecting them from negativity, from premature exposure, from the casual opinions of people who don't share your perspective. Ask yourself, who do you talk to about your dreams? Do they lift you up, or do they make you second-guess yourself? Do they challenge you with wisdom or weigh you down with fear? Because the people you allow into your vision are like guardians or thieves. Either they protect your treasure or they steal your energy. This doesn't mean you never share anything. It means you become intentional. You choose carefully who you let into your inner circle. You share with people who want to see you grow, who will protect your seed rather than crush it. But even then, you don't need to reveal every detail. Some things are meant to stay between you and your work until the results are undeniable. Protecting your vision also sharpens your focus. When you stop explaining yourself to everyone, you stop wasting energy. Instead of defending your dream, you build it. Instead of debating, you're creating. Silence becomes a shield that guards you from distraction. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you finally succeed, you won't need to explain a thing. Your results will be the loudest announcement you could ever make. People will see the fruit of your labor, and it will speak louder than any promise ever could. But protecting your vision isn't only about shielding it from others. It's also about guarding it from your own doubts. There will be days when fear creeps in, when you wonder if you're capable, when the temptation to give up feels overwhelming. In those moments, remind yourself, this vision was given to me for a reason. It is mine to nurture. It is mine to bring to life. So what does it mean to guard your vision? In practical terms, it means setting boundaries. Stop oversharing with people who drain you. It means creating environments that support your growth, books, mentors, routines that fuel your dream instead of killing it. It means practicing patience, allowing time to work in your favor instead of rushing for validation. Think of a diamond before it shines. It spends years hidden in darkness under immense pressure, but because it's protected in that process, it emerges unbreakable. Your vision is the same. It must go through its hidden stage before it dazzles the world. So protect your vision like treasure. Guard it like it's sacred. Nurture it in silence, because one day, when the time is right, that quiet seed will break through the surface, and the world will witness what you've built. And in that moment, you won't need to prove anything. Your treasure will shine on its own. In a world obsessed with broadcasting every move, one of the most radical things you can do is to progress in silence. People think noise equals momentum, that the louder you are, the more you're achieving. But the truth is, silence has always been the secret weapon of those who accomplish the most. Because while the world talks, the quiet ones are building. Progress in silence doesn't mean you hide forever. It doesn't mean you isolate yourself from the world. It means you prioritize action over announcements, results over recognition, work over words. And when you live this way, something powerful happens. Your progress compounds. Think about the iceberg above the water. You see a small peak, but beneath the surface lies something massive, hidden, unshakable. That's what silent progress looks like to the outside world. It might seem like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, you're training, learning, improving, stacking brick after brick. And one day that hidden foundation becomes impossible to ignore. Let's be honest, talking is easy. Announcing your plans is easy. But doing the hard, consistent, often boring work when no one is watching, that's where transformation happens. The late nights, the early mornings, the moments when you feel invisible, that's where greatness is born. Look at athletes. The crowd sees the game-winning shot, the gold medal, the trophy. But what they don't see are the thousands of silent hours in the gym, the sweat-soaked mornings when no cameras were rolling, the relentless grind with no applause. The game is won in the silence long before it's won in the spotlight. Progressing in silence also shields you from distraction. The moment you start telling the world what you're working on, you invite opinions, unsolicited advice, criticism, doubt. Even when people mean well, their voices can pull you off track. But when you keep your head down, when you work quietly, you give yourself the gift of focus. Your only competition becomes yesterday's version of you. Silence also teaches humility. When you don't need to advertise every effort, you stop chasing approval and start chasing mastery. You learn to fall in love with the process itself, not the praise it brings. And that's important because the process is what shapes you. The quiet grind builds resilience, patience, discipline, the qualities that applause can never give you. Of course, this isn't easy. There will be times when you're tempted to show your progress, to prove yourself. You want people to know how hard you're working. But here's the test. Can you keep going even when no one notices? Can you stay consistent even when there's no validation, no spotlight, no recognition? If you can, you're unstoppable. Because progress in silence is not about hiding. It's about preparing. It's about building such a strong foundation that by the time you reveal your results, they speak so loudly that words are unnecessary. People will look at you and wonder, where did this come from? How did they do it? And the answer will be simple. You did the work while no one was watching. Think of it like preparing a masterpiece. The artist doesn't invite the world into the studio while the painting is still half finished. They work quietly, layer by layer, mistake after mistake, correction after correction. Only when it's complete do they unveil it. And in that unveiling, the silence of the process makes the finished work even more powerful. So how do you practice progress in silence? Set daily disciplines. Do the small things consistently. Reading, training, saving, creating. Don't wait for applause. Let discipline become its own reward. Track your growth privately. Journal your progress. Celebrate your wins even if no one sees them. This builds confidence that doesn't depend on others. Resist the urge to announce when you feel the need to tell the world, Ask yourself, does this serve my progress or my ego? If it's ego, stay silent. Fall in love with the grind. Stop seeing the unseen work as a burden. See it as sacred. It's the part no one can take away from you. Here's the paradox. The quiet grind feels invisible in the moment, but it creates results that are impossible to ignore in the future. Silence today becomes a roar tomorrow. So don't be afraid to disappear into your work. Don't be afraid if no one claps right now. Your silence is not weakness, it's strategy. Your grind is not wasted, it's compounding. And when the time comes, when the results reveal themselves, the world won't need an explanation. Your silence will have already spoken louder than 1,000 words. Most people see struggle as the enemy. They think if life is hard, something must be wrong. They pray for an easy path, a shortcut, a way around the storm. But here's the truth. Strength is never built in comfort. Strength is forged in struggle. And if you truly want to transform yourself, you must stop running from challenges and start using them as fuel. Think about it. When you go to the gym, how do your muscles grow? By lifting resistance without that weight pushing back, your muscles never expand. They never get stronger. Life works the exact same way. Every challenge, every obstacle, every failure is resistance designed to stretch you, to break you down so you can rebuild stronger than before. The strongest people you admire didn't become that way by living easy lives. They became that way because life tested them and they refused to quit. They fell, they stumbled, they faced heartbreak, rejection, and failure. And yet, instead of letting those struggles defeat them, they let those struggles define them. Take Thomas Edison. Thousands of failed experiments before he invented the light bulb. He didn't see failure as a signal to stop. He saw it as data. Every failure was proof that he was closer to success. Or think about Nelson Mandela. Decades in prison. Most would have broken, but he emerged stronger, wiser, prepared to change the course of a nation. The struggle didn't destroy him, it prepared him. Here's the paradox. The very thing you're trying to avoid may be the very thing you need. The closed doors, the disappointments, the long nights, the heartbreaks, they're not punishments. They're preparation. They are shaping you into someone capable of carrying the weight of the life you're asking for. But this requires a shift in perspective. Most people ask, why me when struggles hit? The better question is, what is this teaching me? What strength is this building in me? What future is this preparing me for? The moment you shift from victim to student, your struggle becomes your classroom. Let me give you an image. Steel raw iron is fragile. But when it's put through fire, hammered and tempered, it becomes steel nearly unbreakable. The fire doesn't weaken it, it transforms it. You are the same. The struggles you're facing are not there to crush you. They are there to temper you, to remove the weakness, to sharpen your character, to make you resilient. Of course, in the middle of the struggle, it doesn't feel that way. It feels painful, lonely, frustrating, and that's why so many people quit. They mistake the process of growth for the punishment of failure. But listen carefully. Pain is temporary. Strength is permanent. Every difficulty you endure leaves behind a deposit of power inside you. So how do you face struggles differently? Stop resisting. Accept that struggle is part of the journey. Don't waste energy wishing it away. Use that energy to grow through it. Reframe the pain. Instead of saying this is breaking me, say this is building me. Words shape perspective and perspective shapes endurance. Find the lesson. Every challenge teaches something. Patience, discipline, humility, resilience. Write it down, own it, apply it. Keep moving. Struggles don't last forever. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. Even when progress feels invisible, momentum is survival. There's also another gift hidden in struggles: clarity. When life gets hard, the unnecessary falls away. You learn who your true friends are. You learn what actually matters. You learn that the opinions of strangers don't feed you, clothe you, or heal you. Struggle strips away the noise and reveals the essentials. And when you come out of the other side, you're not the same person. You're stronger, sharper, wiser. You carry scars. Yes, but those scars are proof that you survived what was meant to break you. They're medals of resilience at reminders that you're tougher than you thought. So the next time life throws a challenge your way, don't curse it. Don't hide from it. Step into it. Embrace it. Because while comfort may keep you safe, a struggle will make you strong. And strength is the one quality you'll need again and again if you're serious about transformation. Remember, this comfort creates softness, but a struggle creates steel. Every obstacle you face is shaping the unshakable version of you. So don't ask for an easier path. Ask for the strength to endure the one you're on, because the person you become through the struggle will be far greater than the one who avoided it. Transformation does not happen by accident. You don't stumble into becoming your best self. You design it, you choose it, and one of the most important steps in disappearing to transform yourself is this. You must clearly define your transformation goals. Too many people drift through life with vague intentions. They say things like, "I want to be better," or "I want to be successful." But they never define what better or successful actually looks like. And here's the problem: a blurry vision produces blurry results. If you don't know where you're going, how will you know when you've arrived? Think of it like a road trip. You don't just hop in the car and drive without a destination. You choose where you want to go. You map out the best route. You pack what you need. Transformation works the same way. If you want to build a new version of yourself, you must decide exactly who that person is. So ask yourself, who do I want to become? What qualities do I want to embody? What kind of life do I want to create? These are not questions to answer casually. Take time, write them down, reflect deeply, because the clearer your goals, the stronger your direction. Here's the key: don't limit yourself to what feels safe or realistic right now. Allow yourself to dream. The person you are today may not have the skills, resources, or confidence yet, but the person you're becoming will. Transformation requires faith in a future self that you cannot see yet. But vision alone is not enough. You must turn vision into goals and goals into steps. Saying "I want to be healthier" is vague. Saying "I will exercise 5 times a week and fuel my body with clean food" is clear. Saying "I want to be wealthy" is broad. Saying "I will build an additional stream of income and save 30% of my earnings" is measurable. Clarity creates action. Another important part of defining your goals is to understand your why. Why do you want this transformation? Why does it matter to you? Without a strong why, goals collapse under pressure. But when your why is strong enough, nothing can stop you. Maybe your why is to become a role model for your children. Maybe it's to prove to yourself that you're capable of more. Maybe it's to break a cycle of fear or mediocrity in your family. Whatever it is, anchor your goals in a reason that moves your soul. Here's a practical method. 1. Write the vision. Be specific. I want to become confident in public speaking. 2. Attach the why, because I want to influence, inspire, and create opportunities through my voice. 3. Define the how. I will join a speaking club, practice daily, and study great communicators. 4. Set milestones. In 6 months, I will give my first speech to a live audience. When you break it down this way, your transformation no longer feels like a dream. It becomes a plan. But don't fall into the trap of setting goals based on what others expect of you. Your transformation must be yours. Society will try to tell you what success looks like: the car, the house, the title, but those things may not bring you fulfillment. Transformation is about aligning with what matters to you, not impressing others. And yes, defining goals requires courage, because the moment you commit to a destination, you also admit that you're not there yet. That humility is uncomfortable, but it's also liberating. You stop pretending and start progressing. One more truth: your goals should stretch you. If they don't scare you a little, they're too small. Growth only happens when you leave your comfort zone. Don't settle for what's easy. Define goals that demand a higher version of yourself. And here's the beauty: as you pursue those goals, you will change. The end result matters, but the journey shapes you even more. The person who shows up consistently, disciplines themselves, and pushes through setbacks. That's the real transformation. So take time, define your transformation goals clearly. Write them down, keep them visible, read them daily, let them guide your choices. Because without defined goals, disappearing is just hiding. But with defined goals, disappearing becomes strategic. It becomes preparation for the life you're designing. Remember, a vague life creates vague results. A defined vision creates a defined destiny. Choose who you want to become. Write it down and then commit to becoming that person step by step, day by day. Once you've defined your transformation goals, the next step is to design a life that supports them. Because here's a hard truth: you cannot become a new person while living the same old life. If your environment, your habits, and your routines stay the same, they will eventually pull you back to the old version of yourself. Transformation requires alignment. Think about it like this. If you plant an oak tree seed in a desert, it will never grow no matter how much potential the seed has. The soil, the water, the environment determine whether the seed thrives or dies. In the same way, your vision needs the right conditions to grow. If your daily life is filled with distractions, toxic influences, or wasted time, your transformation will suffocate before it begins. So ask yourself, does my life reflect the person I want to become? If the answer is no, it's time to redesign. The first place to start is your time. Time is your most valuable currency, and once it's spent, it's gone forever. Take an honest look at your days. How many hours are invested in growth, and how many are wasted on mindless scrolling, gossip, or procrastination? If you want to become someone new, you must treat time like goals. Structure your days with intention. Block out time for learning, for building, for health, for reflection. The small, consistent choices you make with your time will determine who you become. Second, look at your habits. Habits are the silent architects of your destiny. The person you are today is a reflection of the habits you repeated yesterday. If you want a new future, you need new habits. Maybe it's waking up earlier, maybe it's reading daily, maybe it's tracking your spending or exercising consistently. The key is to start small but be consistent. Tiny disciplines done every day stack up into massive results. Third, examine your environment. Your surroundings influence your behavior more than willpower ever could. If your home, your workspace, your social circle are filled with clutter, negativity, and distractions, you will constantly be fighting uphill. But if you create an environment that inspires you, organized, intentional, filled with reminders of your goals, you'll naturally move toward growth. This includes the people you allow in your life. Some people drain you. Some people distract you. Some people dismiss your vision because it threatens their comfort. If you want to transform, you cannot spend all your time with those who keep you chained to your old self. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who challenge you, who live at the level you aspire to reach. If you can't find them in person, find them in books, podcasts, and mentors from afar. Another piece of designing your life is creating systems and routines. Routines are powerful because they reduce decision fatigue. When you wake up and know exactly what your morning looks like, journaling, exercise, reviewing goals, you don't waste energy debating. You just do it over time. Your routines shape your identity. They turn effort into automatic behavior. But designing a life that matches your vision isn't just about structure. It's also about mindset. You must stop living reactively and start living proactively. Most people wake up and let the world dictate their day: emails, notifications, other people's demands. But if you want to transform, you must cite control. Start your day with intention. Ask yourself, what 3 actions today will move me closer to my vision? Then do them before the noise of the world distracts you. And remember, alignment doesn't mean perfection. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Start with one area. Clean your environment. Adjust your schedule. Replace one negative habit with one positive one. Small changes compound. With each adjustment, your life begins to match the future you're designing. Here's the secret. When your life is aligned with your vision, transformation feels natural. You don't have to force it. Your environment pushes you forward. Your habits pull you upward. Your time builds momentum. You stop fighting against yourself, and instead everything in your life works together, like gears in a machine driving you toward your best self. So take a step back. Look at your life right now. Is it designed for who you are or for who you're becoming? If it's the former, it's time to rebuild. Design a life that matches your vision, and your vision will become your reality. If transformation begins with vision, it is sustained by mindset. You can set goals, create routines, and design your environment. But if your mind is still chained to old beliefs, you will sabotage yourself before you ever arrive. That's why one of the most important steps in disappearing to transform yourself is to reprogram your mindset. Your mind is like the operating system of your life. Every action you take, every habit you form, every result you create, it all begins with thought. If the software is outdated, the system will crash. If the programming is infected with limiting beliefs, you'll never be able to execute your vision, no matter how hard you try. So, here's the question. What stories have you been telling yourself? Because every one of us carries invisible scripts, beliefs planted by family, society, or past failures, scripts like "I'm not good enough," "I'm not smart enough," "I'll never succeed," "people like me don't win," "left unchallenged." These thoughts run in the background of your life, controlling your decisions, draining your courage, and keeping you small. But here's the good news. You have the power to rewrite those scripts. Your brain is not fixed. Science calls it neuroplasticity, the ability of your brain to rewire itself based on new thoughts and repeated actions. In other words, you are not doomed to stay the same. You can train your brain to think in alignment with the person you want to become. How do you do this? The first step is awareness. Pay attention to your self-talk. Catch the negative thoughts in real time. Ask yourself, would I say this to a friend? Would I speak this way to someone I love? If the answer is no, then why speak that way to yourself? Self-awareness is the doorway to change. The second step is replacement. You don't just eliminate negative thoughts, you replace them with empowering ones. If the old script says "I always fail," you replace it with "every setback is training me to succeed." If the old script says "I'm not disciplined," you rewire it into "discipline is now part of who I am." At first it feels forced, but repetition builds belief, and belief shapes reality. The third step is visualization every day. Take a few minutes to picture your future self. See yourself speaking with confidence, moving with purpose, living in alignment with your goals. Feel the emotions as if it's already true. This isn't fantasy, it's practice. You are rehearsing for the life you're building, and your brain begins to recognize that vision as normal. When that happens, your actions naturally shift to match the picture in your mind. Another powerful tool is gratitude. Gratitude reprograms your mind by shifting your focus from what's missing to what's present. When you begin each day naming 3 things you're thankful for, you train your brain to see abundance instead of scarcity, possibility instead of limitation. A grateful mind is fertile soil for growth. But reprogramming your mindset isn't just about positive thinking, it's about taking responsibility. As long as you blame others, as long as you cling to excuses, you give away your power. Responsibility means owning your past choices, your mistakes, and your growth. It's not about shame. It's about freedom, because the moment you take ownership, you take back control. And don't forget, reprogramming your mind requires embracing discomfort. Growth will never feel safe. Your brain will resist change because it craves familiarity, even when that familiarity is destructive. But every time you step into discomfort, every time you face fear instead of running, you are rewiring yourself for resilience. Think of failure differently. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's the training ground of success. Every stumble is data. Every mistake is feedback. Reprogramming your mindset means you stop seeing failure as a dead end and start seeing it as a stepping stone. Remember, this process takes time. You will not erase decades of old programming overnight, but with consistency, the shift becomes undeniable. One day you'll catch yourself thinking differently, acting differently, responding differently. That's when you'll realize the transformation is real. So here's your challenge for the next 30 days. Monitor your thoughts. Replace every self-limiting belief with a statement of power. Visualize your future self daily. Practice a gratitude. Take full responsibility. Step into discomfort. Do this and watch how your life begins to bend toward your new identity. Because in the end, your mindset is the engine that drives your transformation. Reprogram it. And there is no limit to what you can achieve. Every season of disappearing eventually brings you to a crossroads. Do you reappear or do you remain in silence a little longer? This decision is deeply personal, and it holds the power to shape how the world experiences your transformation. When you step away, you do the hidden work building habits, sharpening your mindset, protecting your vision. The question is, when the inner work has taken root, do you unveil the new you to the world, or do you keep building quietly in the shadows? Neither path is wrong. What matters is intention. Some people will feel a strong pull to reappear. After months or years of silent growth, they know they are ready to share, ready to lead, ready to step into the light with strength and clarity. Reappearing in this way is not about proving yourself to others. It's not about seeking applause. It's about standing in authenticity and saying, this is who I've become and this is the mission I carry. When you reappear with this energy, people can feel it. They sense the confidence, the maturity, the inner strength. It's not loud. It's undeniable. Your results speak for you. Your character speaks for you. You don't have to announce. Your presence announces itself. But there are others who may choose to stay quiet even longer. They feel no urgency to return to the spotlight, no need to broadcast their progress. For them, transformation is not a performance, it is a lifestyle. They are content to keep building in silence, letting the work itself reveal its fruit over time. And that's powerful, too, because silence is not weakness, it's strategy. The danger, of course, is staying hidden out of fear. Some people use silence as a shield, afraid to risk exposure, afraid to fail in public. That's not transformation, that's avoidance. If you've truly done the work, you must eventually test your strength in the real world. Steel is forged in fire, but it proves itself on the battlefield. At some point, your growth must be lived out loud, even if it's only in small, deliberate steps. So how do you know whether to reappear or stay silent? Ask yourself, am I making this choice from fear or from strength? If it's fear, push forward. If it's strength, trust your timing. Reappearing doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't mean announcing your every move or making some grand speech. Sometimes it's as simple as showing up differently in your relationships, in your work, in your daily life. People will notice without you saying a word. They'll see the discipline in your actions, the focus in your eyes, the confidence in your posture. They'll sense the transformation. And here's the paradox. Whether you reappear or remain silent, the real measure of transformation is not what the world sees. It's who you become when no one is watching. If your new habits, your new mindset, your new discipline remain consistent in private, then your transformation is real. Whether you display it or not becomes a matter of choice, not necessity. But let me challenge you with this. The world needs transformed people. It needs examples of resilience, focus, and authenticity. Sometimes your reappearance is not just for you. It's for the ones who are still stuck, still lost, still doubting that transformation is possible. By stepping into the light, you give them permission to believe. You become a living testimony that disappearing is not running away, it's rising higher. So when the moment feels right, when you know the foundation is strong, don't be afraid to reintroduce yourself, not as the old you pretending to be new, but as the real you who has been forged in silence, tested in struggle, and rebuilt with intention. And if you choose to stay quiet, that's fine too. So long as it's not fear holding you back, let your actions speak. Let your results whisper louder than any announcement, because transformation isn't about the noise you make. It's about the life you live. At the end of the day, this is your choice. Reappear or stay silent. Step into the spotlight or remain in the shadows. What matters is that you are living in alignment with who you've become. Because whether the world sees it or not, you know. And that knowledge, the certainty of your own growth, is the greatest power of all. So now you know the secret is not always in showing up louder, but in stepping back braver. To disappear is not to escape, but to rebuild. To go silent is not to quit, but to prepare. And when you return, you will not return the same. You will return stronger, sharper, unstoppable. Remember this: the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more proof. It doesn't need another promise. It needs living evidence of transformation. And that evidence is you. So if you're ready to guard your vision, to master silence, to embrace struggle, and to reappear as the version of yourself that no one can ignore, start today. Don't wait. Don't announce, disappear, transform, and come back unrecognizable. And when you do, let the world see not just what you've achieved, but who you've become. Because in the end, that's the real victory, becoming the person you were always meant to be. If this message spoke to you, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications so you never miss the wisdom we share here. Share this video with someone who needs the reminder that silence can be power and transformation is always possible. And remember, this is Think Rich Mindset Hub here. We don't just inspire, we build, we transform.